to COVID-19 Cooking with Char, episode 7. At least I think it's episode 7, but we're gonna go with it. So this is Chuckles.
How's it going, y'all?
And Hudson is taking a test, and so they're going to help me this evening. And we're going to have a little bit different dinner. We're going to have Cajun smothered pork chops. We're going to have sweet potatoes. My friend Julie does these sweet potatoes with olive oil and Slap Your Mama that are amazing in the oven. And then we're going to have Brussels sprouts with olive oil and Parmesan and panko in the air fryer. So we're gonna do something a little bit healthier tonight. So sit back and enjoy. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So tonight we're going to do the pork chops, and it's gonna be a Cajun smothered pork chop. So all I've done is I thawed my pork chops, and I have some garlic, actually I used the Best Stock Cajun seasoning, which is a great place in Lafayette, Louisiana, that has the most amazing boudin. And I used cracked black pepper. So that's all I have my pork chop seasoned with. And I have my huge all-clad pan. Normally I don't like non-stick, but this was a big pan, so we're going with a non-stick. And I'm just going to brown them on either side and take them out, and then we're going to do the gravy that goes with it. So I'm going to turn it on and let that get heated up. In the meantime, I cut up some sweet potatoes, and I have some olive oil, and I'm just going to try to coat them in olive oil, and then garlic, lots and lots of garlic, and some Slap Your Mama. And so then I just kind of toss everything together. Want to make sure that you get the oil all over the potatoes, because we're going to bake these in the oven at like 375. Okay, so these are nice and coated. So I'm going to put these on a cookie sheet, and then I will probably add just a touch more seasoning after we get that done. So I have my sweet potatoes on the pan. I'm going to go ahead and add a touch more garlic, even though I tossed it in with the olive oil, and a touch more Slap Your Mama. Okay, so these are ready to go in the oven, and I have the oven on at 400 degrees, and we're going to bake them until they start getting brown. Okay, so now I have the sweet potatoes in the oven. I have some butter in the frying pan, and I'm going to start the pork chops. So I just want to brown them about 5 minutes on each side, because we're going to cook them down in a nice gravy to make them tender. So I just want to get a nice crust. So I have these, and we're going to do 5 minutes on each side, and then we'll be back when it's ready to do the gravy. After cooking, so we're going to start the Brussels sprouts. So I cut them in half, and then I steamed them for just a few minutes. They're just barely tender. I mean, they're not soft by any means, but I'm going to cook them in the air fryer, and I want to make sure that they're done quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some olive oil. Just drizzle some olive oil on there. Drizzle some garlic, quite a bit of garlic. Some black pepper. And since we're kind of going with the Cajun theme, I'm going to go ahead and add some of the Best Stock Cajun seasoning. Not a lot, but just a little bit to kind of carry over the theme of the rest of the dinner. So I'm going to toss those. Just kind of get everything acquainted. It actually needs more garlic. Let's make sure everything is evenly coated because we want to make sure we have plenty of spice. And my black pepper. And then I'm going to put them in the air fryer at 400 for about 6 minutes. And then when the 6 minutes is done, I'm going to add some freshly grated Parmesan cheese and some panko breadcrumbs and get them a little bit crispy. And at the very end, I'm going to do a touch of balsamic vinegar. So right now, I'm going to put them into the air fryer. I have a large air fryer and they spray out nicely. And put them in. And they're ready to go at 400. Boom. Okay, all the pork chops are browned on either side. And I have them resting over here. I have the pan that I was cooking it in. And yes, I just put a huge slab of butter in there. Because we're actually going to, I'm a freak, I'm sorry, I like to clean when I cook, I clean as I go. Okay, so we're going to cook down, turn it down to low, probably add a little olive oil where the butter doesn't burn. I'm going to add the onions. So for these Cajun pork chops, we're going to cook down some onions. And then we're going to add some mushrooms and some fresh garlic. And then, once that gets sauteed, we're going to add a little sour cream, some more Cajun seasoning, some cayenne pepper, some paprika, and have a nice little sauce to go on top of the pork chops. But we're going to let this, once we get the onions and the garlic cooked down, I'm going to let the pork chops kind of simmer in that for just a little bit. Before they get tender. So right now, the goal is just to cook the onions down a little bit. Once they start to cook down, I'll add the mushrooms and then the garlic. Okay, so our onions are sauteing down nicely. I just added the mushrooms. I'm going to let those cook down just a little bit before I add my fresh garlic. Because this is going to be the base of our gravy for the pork chops. So let's look at the Brussels sprouts in the air fryer. So I have them in for like 6 minutes with the seasoning. So now I'm going to add some panko breadcrumbs. I'm going to sprinkle them just kind of over the top. And then I have some fresh grated Parmesan, and I'm going to put that all over the top. I'm going to reserve some for the very end. And so literally it looks like a hot mess when you put it in there. But hopefully it'll fry nice, and so it'll be nice and crispy and adhere to the Brussels sprouts. So let's go back to our pork chop, and this is cooking down nicely. I have, that's the Parmesan, fresh garlic that I've already prepped. I'm going to add the fresh garlic to the mixture, cook that down a little bit. Then I'm going to add my pork chops amongst the onions and mushrooms, and add some chicken broth and let that simmer down for about 30 minutes or so. Okay, so we're going to add the pork chops to our mixture with the onions and the mushrooms, and hopefully we can get all this to kind of fit in this pan. Now it's a big pan, but I have a lot of people. Well, I say a lot of people. I have people that eat a lot, shall I say. So I have to have multiple pork chops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get all the pork chops in here. Add some chicken broth and then cook everything down. Which we may have to make a couple of layers, but that's okay. We're all good. pepper in there. Flavor is always a good thing. We want to cook the pork chops down in the chicken broth where they become tender and they also have a good flavor. And then we have actually a base for gravy. I'm going to add a little bit more of the best stop seasoning while that cooks down just a little bit. And the drippings from the pan. So I'm going to just let this cook down just a little bit because we want it to get tender. And then we have our sweet potatoes in the oven and our Brussels sprouts in the air fryer. Okay, good food takes time. So even though it doesn't seem like it's been a long time on the video, it takes quite a bit of time to make good food. So I have the pork chops cooked down. I cooked them down in the sauce for about 30 minutes. Now I have the mushrooms and the onions and the broth cooking down just a little bit where I can make a nice cream gravy for the pork chops. I have the sweet potatoes in the oven and they are almost absolutely ready. And I have the Brussels sprouts in the air fryer. And they've kind of fallen apart, which I've probably seen a little bit too much, but they're going to be amazing with the flavor. So once I get this cooking down, I'm going to add some sour cream and some smoked paprika and some cayenne pepper, and I'm going to taste it, and if we need a little bit of flavor, then I'm probably going to add some more of the best stock seasoning that we had earlier. And then we'll have a nice gravy ready to go for the pork chops. So the mixture is cooking down. I'm going to add some sour cream because I want this to be a nice creamy sauce. Okay. Cut this down to low. I have my pork chops already ready. I'm going to stir this in. I've added some cayenne pepper and some of the extra of the best stock seasoning because I want a nice flavorful kind of creamy gravy to go along with this.
No, great.
Getting everything seasoned in. Okay, and so then now I'm going to actually add the pork chops back into the mixture, and then people can gather the pork chops out of a nice gravy. And give me a second and we'll plate. Okay, so now we've cooked down our pork chops. I have my pork chop here. I have some of the Brussels sprouts and some of the wonderful sweet potatoes. And again, I'm sorry I don't have a garnish tonight. I should have planned ahead, but bon appetit.